Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live, high above the keep in the hot air balloon tonight. As always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing?
Loving that intro, loving that artwork. Ready to go.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a minute. We continue to have our head kind of down in development mode here. So let's start out with: do you have a question of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this will relate to something that may or may not have come out today. Do you choose the path of observation, investigation, or experimentation?
I would choose it's investigation that has the super ability, right? Or am I getting that wrong? I'll go
Let
for
me
the
look.
super ability.
The super ability. I could jump right to the end. Yeah, that's investigation.
Yep.
So you win.
Investigation it is for me. How about you?
So, it's interesting. As I read through these, obviously the Scholar, we're talking about the Scholar Codex that released, and as we kind of figured, this is the Scholar is a support hero. But I'm interested. A lot of these things, pretty much every one of these skills says, deal X amount of magic damage or heal a party member. So I guess I didn't expect there to be as many that like actually dealt magic damage. So. I don't know. The Scholar could be kind of an interesting hero. I didn't expect it, I guess.
Yeah, it's exciting. I have my Gen Zero Scholar listed out for 75 crystals, so shameless plug for all of those of you out there who are interested in getting a Scholar. Um,
You did that's for rent, right? You didn't accidentally sell it.
yeah, yes, it is for rent. I would say I was expecting a lot of kind of a support, obviously a support style hero, buffy and debuffy. I think the amount of healing and damage I wasn't quite expecting to be as present as they are, but you're probably not coming to the ADFK stream to get the breakdown on, on the heroes. You're going to listen to Wowie and Maddie.
Oh
Um,
yes.
so I think actually one place that I do want to go, and maybe we'll just leave it as a little bit of speculation from us, but I'd like to hear those guys talk about it. Um, what options are there in the meta? Like, what kind of meta archetypes are starting to develop? Because you have like, couldn't you get away with two support style heroes and just one beefy guy, or do you need to have that standard, um, tank healer damage dealer, or do you need to have that tank damage dealer support? Like, what
Right.
metas do you think are going to kind of come out? And my favorite hero class right now is Thief by far and away. But I like a lot of other classes, and I think I'm drawn to like probably Pirate next. But can I have a team that has a Thief and a Pirate? Or am I going to be, I don't know, like maybe I'm just focusing on luck? And this is where the game's going to get really fun. And I feel like we're going to even start to encounter this in the boar hunting. Now, granted, that'll probably be dramatically different than PvP. You'll probably be tooling up your guys a lot differently. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think it's good that there's only a few classes that have skills that'll be out so that we can kind of learn them piecemeal as much as we'd love to see them all. I mean, it's just a lot of information to soak in. And looking at these, you're right. I guess after I reread these, I did kind of think of a scholar as maybe they could increase the crit chance of another hero or something like some of those sorts of you know intellectual kind of things. But yeah, it's this. I guess you're right. This isn't what I was really expecting. Excel tables, if you will.
Yeah, for our listeners out there, because I'm not detecting any change in our connection, but we're talking on Teams right now. I'm getting notifications from OBS that I'm disconnecting and reconnecting. So if you're listening in on YouTube right now, I don't know, give us a thumbs up if everything's okay. If you can, or I should say, if you can't hear us, make sure you yell louder. So we'll hopefully we'll get through my standard technical difficulties that I have every once in a while. So, but yes, I agree with you, and I think that we're in desperate need of some useful ways to chart and just like digest all this information because there's not an easy way to do it right now.
No, short of memorizing it and playing it. I think that's kind of like as you mentioned the board hunt. I think that's where that's going to be huge. Once we start playing, it'll just those classes skills will become somewhat second nature. And I was talking to a buddy who plays a lot of Diablo 4. Yeah, Diablo 4, and he's like it's kind of like you're playing the piano, right? Like you've got these just this sequence, this rhythm that you have to hit, and you're paying attention. And once you get into the rhythm and the combos, it starts flowing. And I think this game isn't going to be necessarily that rhythmic because I think it'll be a little slower pace with transactions and interactions, but you still have to get that cadence.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it's not you're right, it's not just the game of picking your heroes and your skills before the game starts, but there will be some rhythm to, like, all right, this is how the opponent's reacting, these are the skills I'm taking. So I like.
I maybe am here a little bit, but not too. But yeah. So I think he would consider he's one of my coworkers. He that I got roped into DFK probably 6 months ago, maybe 9 months ago at this point. I don't know the way time flies. I can't keep track of it, but he would consider himself a smaller wallet. I mean, he only started with maybe a couple $100, and he's just kind of been buying heroes and stuff since then. And he told me about a week or two ago that he was going to start going for Dread Knight. And his first attempt was, of course, a pirate.
Hard
And
rug,
it
yeah.
didn't get a lot better on the second one. But the third one, though, I tell you what,
All right, I brought it up on
he,
screen.
yeah, he nailed it. A rare Dread Knight. And that's kind of just where the fun begins because it mutated. So now he's got one summon left, which is awesome. Uh,
Wow, look at
and
that strength.
look at the stats. Yeah. And it was only a lesser vitality, which is still solid. But yeah, to have three teen scores like that is pretty awesome on a level one rare.
Yeah.
And then as you're going to scroll down pretty soon here, he also nailed the second win.
Heck
So
yes.
this could be a monster hero if it levels well for him. And I told him like these are the kind of things you got to celebrate in this game, right? Like this is playing and winning right now.
I love that. Yeah, and I would say it still is a lot of fun to do this. I'm still in kind of my building block mode. I don't think I have any new heroes to show off, but this guy, that's impressive. That's very impressive. Good for him.
Yeah, and it was funny. I remember when I summoned my dread, it was like, it was probably after our stream on Summons Night, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I had a hard time going to sleep that night because like your heart is racing. Oh, what did you
Yeah.
get here?
Yeah, I was just popping some of my
Little
regular 10 out of 10s.
little orange. I like the orange. I
Yeah,
got lucky with a 10 out of 10 orange this morning, so it's an orange day.
it sure is. It sure is. All right. I'm going to take one of these heroes and I think I'm going to donate it to a little project that we have going on. Do you want to give the listener?
The market on gold and how gold is just blowing up. And I made a post in our Discord the other day where we broke 2.3 billion gold across the two realms. So we're creating gold with these armies of heroes at somewhat of an alarming rate. And so that's kind of where we came up with this pet project and we're like, what can we do as, community builders to try to help this? Like, well, let's throw some away. So here we go. We just launched a little earlier today a Crystal Veil Gold raffle system. So basically, the premise of this was we wanted to create essentially, it kind of started off like the idea of a 50-50 raffle. You can enter in some gold, you get tickets, and then at the end of the raffle, when it closes, the winner takes 50% of the total pot. And if you read the fine print here, I tried to explain it fairly well, but basically, of the remaining 50%, we're going to burn 25% of the gold that's submitted here. So we're trying to get the gold burn on, and then the next 25% basically rolls forward into the next raffle, so that um, there's an incentive for that first guy to come deposit gold. Otherwise, if a new raffle starts and there's nothing in the pot, and you put in, say, 1,000 gold, and you have a chance to win 500, you're like, whoa, that seems kind of weird. I just lost 500 gold. Um, yeah, you're having the MetaMask problem. So yeah, um, the MetaMask integration still is a little sticky. I got to work through some bugs there. But if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can always just go to your inventory, um, and copy the address down towards the bottom, and even just in the game, um,
Transfer.
yep, in the game, just transfer from your inventory, and you'll know you got the right place because I went ahead and named this wallet something fun. So uh, I think
So
I called and by fun I mean descriptive.
let's start out with I'm gonna send that archer that I
Ah,
just got.
ooh,
This legend.
wow,
Let's do a legendary archer. Let's throw
that's
him into the
awesome.
pot. Um, so let's have fun with this. I mean, I think this is like you said. We're not trying to take any of the gold. This is a pure community play. So
Yeah, there you go.
um,
80FK gold raffle. So that's the
yeah,
that's the profile name you're looking for. If the MetaMask integration is not working, you always know that you can just send stuff from the game itself.
and then I'll go ahead and send some gold here as well. So let's send the token. Oh,
So I think if you click on your inventory and then I think you got to do it from there.
yep. Yeah, doing a transaction.
I know whoever ends up winning those tiers, that's just a precursor. Bolon and the DFK team said that they would, whatever the gold pot ends up being, they said that they would donate an equivalent value in tiers to the pot. So I just put 200 in as a placeholder. So whoever ends up winning that, um, will basically get the equivalent of the pot in tiers. And so there you can see, here's the other items that you're able to win if you have an entry in this contest. There's 200 tiers, and then now you can see, uh, pretty cool here. We got a couple of two 10 out of 10s now available. So I love it.
Yeah, like I said, we're really trying to promote burning items. I mean, I think while we feel that the boar hunting is going to do wonders for the gold economy, um, yeah, gold is being created as a means from all the other items, right? Because they're being sold
Right.
off and minted into gold, and so until we have a fully playable game, we feel like this is a fun way to try to get the community to commit to some burning of items. It's absolutely fantastic that the DFK team wants to kind of stand behind this idea and put some seeds into this pot. I'm hoping maybe we could get them to continue doing. We haven't really talked about doing this on the long term basis, um, but if we could start generating a lot of burn here, they love burning, and that's
Right.
something that they've shared before. So I think this would. I don't know. I think if we could pick up some traction here in the community, really, this is something that they want to see. Who knows? Maybe we could get some more.
And scroll up a little bit. The red colored numbers there are kind of the crux of it, right? That
Yep.
is now I said earlier 2.3 billion, and that's the total in both realms. For part of this application, I'm only watching Crystal Vale's gold. But so you can see on Crystal Vale alone, there's a lot of gold, and that number right there that you're hovering over, that is I've been scanning the blockchain and basically putting in database entries. So that is the average net gold minted per hour right now. So we're making a 500,000 gold an hour net, and so that's why this keeps getting bigger and bigger, and that's kind of you know we see the gold value just dropping slightly all the time because of that huge quantity.
Yeah.
So so right now it shows that you have a really super high chance of winning. Um, I'll go. I put 100K in earlier, and I assume you're wanting to just donate the gold you supplied
I
for the
am.
raffle,
I
correct?
am, yes.
So I'll go in the database and I'll remove your entry there and just keep the gold in the pot. So don't get turned away, viewers.
All right, so again, it's check out the
And then
website.
another part I want to mention too that was kind of cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, if you recognize those lower portions on the gold raffle page once you opened it up, basically I'm just leveraging other portions of the site. So I'm trying. We've got so many different apps now on our site that I can, as a dev, pretty easily leverage, pieces from other parts of the site. Like the inventory page, that's a snip. The items was a snip from the inventory page. The hero is a snip from
Hero data.
loading your own hero. So I'm basically just re-leveraging code that we've written for other apps. So that's where this starts to be kind of fun as a software geek.
I love that. I love that. I should put some notes on this hero before they leave. Yeah,
There
like
you
you're
go.
welcome or enjoy.
Well, those are just for you. Those are private,
Oh,
so no
okay.
one else
Never
can
mind.
see those. Yeah, that's another feature too. I should mention. I've been looking at the database. Hardly anybody uses the notes feature on heroes, but yeah, on my own personal wallet, I probably have 100 heroes that have notes on there as to why I'm holding them, what their purpose is, or who their summoning partner is.
So
It's another slick
those
feature.
notes, if I export into a CSV file, do they come too?
They do, yes. So the hero
I'm
list,
sold.
if you go to your hero data, they'll
Yeah,
be there.
excellent. I'm sold. That's awesome. All right. Well,
So yeah,
this
that's
is yeah,
that's the
this
big
is
dev
great.
dive today.
Well, I mean, we still have one other big topic too.
Oh yeah.
We have come to terms with the DFK team on raffle tickets,
Yes.
and we've been given kind of the green light, not quite the white list yet, right?
No, not yet.
But we've been given the green light, waiting on the white list, and we've come to terms with how we're going to do raffle tickets. Um, I it's something that we'll be testing on. I know one of our testers for the game was asking about our rate system that we're going to use, and so here's kind of I think the number one thing that we'll do is we're going to come out with a rate system that will probably change monthly. And the goal for that is also to be very transparent with what that rate system is going to be, but that gives us the flexibility to modify it in the future if we need to. The last thing we want to do is create a rate system that just doesn't work for our users and ends up just creating a whole bunch of havoc and makes the game not even worth playing. But we also want to create some consistency with it. And so you have a really clever idea, Neindorf, of we're going to take whatever the dungeon is that we are going to designate as the raffle ticket dungeon for a period of time, and we are going to set what we call kind of par for the course. And par for the course is going to be based on the number of turns that it takes you to get through that dungeon, and the number of turns that it takes, or the enemies that you're defeating, so the mini boss and the mega boss, and that will also another modifier is going to be the number of heroes that you have alive at the end. Did I miss anything there?
No, I think yeah, that's right. So it's basically we want to account for how many rooms the dungeon has, because every time you transition from one to another, it costs a turn. And then any, round in combat also costs a turn, and bosses take longer to get through. So we basically
Yeah.
we're fine-tuning a formula where you'll end up with a score. Um, and again, we'll probably take some iteration. We won't perfect at first, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
it'll be fairly easy for us to set that score and modify it such that we can rate a run of the dungeon.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is if a hero dies, that'll be a obvious detractor from your score as well.
Yeah. And, we're probably going to change the dungeon itself that you can go get those raffle tickets in on a periodic basis as well. So that's also why the this generic formula will change, but par for a particular dungeon will change. And so par is going to be like what we expect that average score to be. And if you make that average score, that will dictate your raffle ticket payout. And then what we're actually going to do is well, this sounds like kind of complicated in the back end, but what we're going to do is translate par means basically your raffle ticket per crystal spent. And so then you have the opportunity to earn a number of raffle tickets for what you're spending on crystal. Our par average value is going to be set at the same rate that raffle tickets are earned if you're winning 50% of your duels in 9v9 war matches. And so that is kind of our goal, is that we want something to be, and I really appreciate the DFK team stepping up and helping us achieve that rate. We want something that people feel like they can spend their crystal on and they still have the opportunity to make a decent amount of raffle tickets that they can go turn around and use for playing the game. And this needs to be, and I was impressed that the DFK team, like, they're not afraid of healthy competition in this regard. And so we aren't trying to go head to head with them, but they could have very easily said, yeah, you're going to get a really lousy rate and people can make pennies on their raffle tickets from you. But that's not what they're about. So a big thank you to them and that tokenomics team for stepping up to the plate and allowing us to give a rate back to our users that creates an average that's very similar to playing duels.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot, it's kind of amazing how much goes into these decisions. And it really proves to me that they take every decision they make seriously, and they, like, nobody on their team will just make a decision. They always run it through the appropriate committee that's in charge of that aspect. Like you said, tokenomics. And I'm always, blown away by that, and that there's that professionalism here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's been the big of a thank you. But hopefully we can then transition that soon to getting out of our alpha testing phase and start to launch the game itself.
Yep, that's right. And I think the only other note I would say is, yeah, we have a bit of work to do too in the game itself to define what I would call this, the raffle ticket challenge dungeon, where it's somewhat random but similar every time. And then I think what we would like to do as, kind of the game development goes on is kind of like Duels has seasons. I think we would like to kind of have similar seasons too. And so right now the mechanic is basically going to be just, moving around and fighting monsters. But we have some other hidden things that kind of our tutorial of our game alluded to, for those of you who have played it. Um, but basically, we want to make it harder, and then par will go up as well down the road. We want to incentivize people to continue to play the more and more complicated game as we build it out. And so, stay tuned. We're hoping we can add some really cool twists and make it a fun game to play. So you're profiting, but you're also having fun. It's the true have fun to earn.
Absolutely. I love that. Definitely love that. Okay. So, what else do we have on the agenda to talk about tonight? We're going to do some quick AMA notes, but it turns out neither of us caught up on the AMA in full. So we have to audible here at the last minute. The one thing that I picked up on is that it sounds like and I was really watching Grady's reaction stream. So you're getting the reaction of the reaction now. I heard that the Clayton proposal was rejected initially, and the team wasn't thrown off by that very much. And Grady seemed, I don't know if he knows something behind the scenes or what, but I mean, he's kind of like, they got options. Like, this team knows what they're doing. So, I that's exciting to me.
Yeah, the thing that comes to my mind is I don't want to hear feature parody ever again. I remember saying that, when they had to move the realms. But I think this team has learned and matured a lot in their capabilities since then. So I think, yeah, I am not concerned. They can handle what comes their way. And I think as things are starting to turn a bit, I feel like I'm hoping that once some of these combat, maybe it's the boar hunt, maybe it's actual PvP starts to get closer and closer, their bargaining power is going to go up a little bit too. Because I mean, as many people have talked about, just the sheer transaction and burn volume that this game brings to a chain is just immense. And I think it's like it's something. It's like kind of a force to be reckoned with, if you will. It can wreck our PC nodes. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as Dreamer would say, they're negotiating from a position of strength now. So, really, this is a big congratulations to the community too. I mean, we're driving these transactions, so kudos to everyone for staying involved and having fun with this game. Building monster heroes is still fun, even though we're not battling with them yet. Like it's got me invested deeply.
Yes. Oh, was Dreamer back on for an AMA finally? I know he kind of had some of the they were saying the Hawaii chaos. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I believe he was hit. Yes, I heard that he was back on, but again, I did
That's
not
good.
catch much of the AMA. So our
Yeah,
thoughts go
that's
out
good
to
news.
anyone who's has family there or is living there in Hawaii. That sounded awful. So our thoughts go out to you. All right. Well, Neindorf, any other kind of closing comments you have before we go on? I have one
I'm
last thing
trying to
that I
think.
want to
I'm looking
tease.
through my notes here. I think we hit all our points.
Okay. The last thing that I want to tease is that this is episode 92. We're getting really close to the big 100, and I think that means we've also been going on. I mean, we're not quite at the 2 year mark like the DFK team, but we're going on like a year and a half, right?
Yeah,
Or
wasn't it
more
like
than that.
November or
November, yeah. So our episode 100 will probably hit before our 2 year mark, and I don't know. We need to do something big, something special for that. I don't know what you recommend, but let's maybe ask our viewers out there, what do you want to see for episode 100? We want to do it big, maybe have a special guest. Speaking of special guests, I'm going to be planning Raid to Minneapolis 2.0 with
oh,
Wisdom Labs at some point. I messaged Ian the other day and I was like, hey, um, I'd like to go check things out again. You cool with that? He's like, yeah, awesome, cool. He's like, when do you want to do it? And I was like, oh man, you responded so quickly. I wasn't expecting a yes. And so then I'm like,
uh,
he's like, when do you want to do it? Or like, what are the details? And I'm like, I haven't thought that far ahead. Dang it. So I don't
that's
know. I
great.
we you and I have zero information when it comes to the release of combat. I think we have general ideas, just like everyone else does, on the spreadsheet that shows the boar hunt, which I know they are part of developing that. So I don't know. Maybe it makes sense for us to go up there in a month and a half, 2 months. It'd be nice to get you there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to see. I'd love to see what they got going on. Meet the crew and just thank them for their hard work. We don't even get to see much of their hard work yet, but shortly I think we will.
Yeah, I that team is awesome. They're hard at work for sure. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and close this episode out.